Have you ever found yourself when you're stressed out, just reflexively just pushing your hand out and just pulling that like bag of cookies? Or say you come home from a long day at work where people just really got on your nerves and you just went in, opened up the door, went straight to the refrigerator, went straight to the freezer, and just pulled out that pint of ice cream and just started to just dig into it and just, what's all of this? It is emotional eating. And if you are on your weight loss journey, this can sabotage you, right? But if you're going through this, today's for you, right? We are going to go over 5 ways in order to get you out of that emotional eating phase for good, and 5 things that you can definitely do that you can stop this emotional eating, right? I'm Dr. Tamara Beckford. I'm the CEO of Your Care and Docs and Truly Balanced Wellness Care. So, with that, I help with stress management coaching, and I also have a telemedicine wellness practice. Now, I'm here today to help all of the people who are dealing with this emotional eating because it's sabotaging your progress. However, it's something that can be helped and supported, right? All right, let's talk about this. All right, you are here dealing with this day from where everything is just annoying you. How is it that you're able to overcome an emotional eating? The first thing you need to know is your emotional trigger. Like, what is your trigger? What triggers you to the point that you're just like, right? So once you can figure out that trigger, then you need to know what is triggering you and what food is it causing you to go hunt. Right? What food is it like, all right, I need this right now in order to be able to get that comfort. Now we know that the comfort that comes with you being triggered emotionally, we know that it's a temporary fix. But in order for you to even try fixing it, you need to know what is causing it. So what emotions are triggering you at that point, right? And what food is that causing you to run towards? A way for you to figure that out is by writing things down and really contemplating with a journal. So, putting it in a journal, is there emotional journal? How am I feeling today? And a food journal, it's causing me to want or to crave this, right? So I know some people are just like, oh, I want sweets, but not everybody craves sweets. Not everyone craves sweets. Some people crave something crunchy, salty, fatty. What is it for you? What is it that it makes you crave? So the emotions or the feelings that you're having, you need to write that down. And what is it causing you to crave? You need to write that down because now the first way of fixing something is being aware. And the awareness is where you are, right? So what is it that's triggering you? Number 2, so we know now some of the things that's triggering us. What is it that we can do as an alternative? Because our emotions are taking over. So the emotions are taking over, and our goal is to not let the emotion lead to the eating, right? Because we're using the eating to comfort ourselves from that emotion, whatever the emotion might be. So, what is an alternative that we can use other than eating in order to satisfy this emotion that we're feeling? So, some things that you can do movement. So, movement can be in the form of exercise. Some people, is that a run? Is that okay? You know what? I need to run and get this stress off, this emotional stress. Or I'm angry and I need to be able to change my mood. Some people moods get changed very well by music, right? Or by dancing. So am I going to have my go-to dance list whenever I get into this particular mood? I know if I play this list of music and I start to dance, it automatically changes my mood. It makes me feel better. So my alternative to just running and grabbing an unhealthy snack and emotionally eating is by doing another thing, which is for that might be movement. Now, movement, of course, we know it releases some nice positive hormones, endorphins, and it helps to enhance your mood. So that's one of the ways to enhance that mood from that downward feeling that you might be having And that's what movement can do. Another thing could be tapping into something creative, like your creativity. Is it drawing? Is it writing poetry? Is it journaling? It's really just finding an alternative to what your reflex would be when the emotion hits. And that's one of the ways that you can try to stop that emotional eating, right? So, number two was that alternative. So, number three is now when you are finding yourself, say you do find yourself going to eat, check in before you take that first bite. Check in on yourself and really determine, am I truly hungry? Am I truly hungry? Or is this just the emotions that's taking over? Because when we do truly feel hungry, we have cues, like your stomach will grumble. If you are just eating just for the sake of eating, you know that this is emotionally driven. So, what are some things that you do? Look for your hunger cues. Is it going on? No. Ask yourself, like, why am I pulling for this thing, right? Is it because I'm hungry, or is it because I'm angry? Is it because I feel lonely? Is it because I'm tired? Really tap into what's going on emotionally. And then once you tap in, then you can know that, okay, boom, I can do the alternative. Now, if you are truly hungry and your hunger cues are going off, like your stomach's grumbling, then yes, you will go ahead and have something to eat because you truly are hungry. However, when you tap in and you ask yourself those questions, am I truly hungry? And you're like, not really. Am I angry? Yes, somebody just pissed me off. Or am I lonely? Really, yes. I'm just here and I'm just feeling very sorry for myself. And therefore, that's why I want to eat. Or am I just tired? Oh my God, I had the longest day. I'm just so over it. So, what is it that's going on? So, tap into that. Another thing that when you are eating and you do get to that phase, I am hungry and I'm eating. Now you need to also tap in and make sure that when you're eating, you are doing what we call like mindful eating, like mindfulness. Am I really sitting and being present with this meal? Am I slowing down to enjoy the meal? Am I just eating just for the sake of eating? Now, one of the things that happens, and it happens very often nowadays, is when we're eating, we have like our cell phones at the table. I know I'm guilty of this. And you're eating and you're scrolling. And so it's just hand to mouth, and you're not really savoring the meal. You're not being mindful with the meal. You're not chewing and really savoring the taste, the texture of what you're eating. You're really just going hand to mouth. It's almost like a reflex, just hand to mouth. With that, you're not hitting and like your cues in your body to say that I'm full, right? But when you slow down, you are giving your body that time to say, okay, I've chewed my food. I'm swallowing it. I'm not like just shoveling it down my throat. And yeah, my hunger hormones will go off or my filling hormones will go off and say, okay, we're full now. We no longer need to eat. So tap into mindfulness eating when you are eating and try to reduce just the shoveling because we need those cues to go off. And if we're not paying attention to it, then we're just going to override all that, right? So that was number four. So number five is yes, there are going to be times when you do want to eat and you want to have a snack. Make sure that you provide this opportunity for yourself to have something healthy. So, what are you going to do? You're going to make sure that you have healthy things at home. We all know that's a very reasonable thing, but sometimes it's hard. But hey, you have to keep that in mind already. If I want to be on the journey to be healthier, I need to have healthier things around. Number one, right? Number two, if you are going to have a snack, which is it's important. So I'm not going to say, don't you ever snack again. No, that's not realistic. But if you are going to have a snack, try to do it in portions, right? Because you're not going to go ahead and consistently deprive yourself of things. What's the point of life? You're supposed to enjoy life. Are you going to deprive yourself of all the things that are pleasurable in life for the sake of saying, okay, I made it through this life, didn't do anything pleasurable, but I'm the healthiest on my way out? No, absolutely not. So, if you are going to have a snack, make sure that you do enjoy it and then, of course, have it in proportions, right? So, you're not going to deprive yourself. And guess what? When you do give yourself that snack and you are enjoying it, try to limit the guilt that tries to come into your mind, that negative chatter that, oh, I thought you said you were on this healthy living. I guess that's it. I guess we're no longer on a healthy living. The negative words that just tries to go in your mind over and over. No, try to limit that because it's important, like I said, for us to enjoy this thing called life. So you're going to have a snack, enjoy the snack, savor it, do it mindfully. Yes, this is something that I'm having. I'm having a treat and I'm enjoying this treat. No, I'm not going to feel guilty about this treat because it's something that I have been looking forward to and I'm going to have it, right? Now, here's the thing about the emotional eating, and that happens. We at time feel that if we tap into emotional eating and we're doing it like we're just like this broken person and life is over and we're never going emotional eating, it's a habit, right? It's a habit. And habits, guess what? Habits get made and habits can be broken. So think about it that way. Thinking about it is, wow, this is a habit that I have created. Now, what are some ways for me to break this habit? So, just how habits sometimes it takes a while for it to happen, the same thing can happen in the reverse when you're trying to break that habit. Make sure that you give yourself grace as you're on this journey, breaking this habit of emotional eating. Use some of the techniques that we talked about. Be careful of the negative chatter that we like to do to ourselves if we are on this phase where we're unable to keep up with all high this high level that we have placed ourselves on this pedestal that says, okay, I've been having this emotional eating, I'm going to break it, but I'm going to be able to do it in 1 week. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's hard to break a habit in a week, right? So let's give ourselves some grace. What are some things that we're going to do? We're going to keep in mind that trigger. What is triggering this? We know that this is a habit. And if we're going to break the habit, keep in mind what is it that's triggering this habit, right? So, one, what's triggering this habit? Two, can I find a healthier alternative? Versus the eating when I'm feeling this emotional stress, when I'm feeling this anger coming on, when I'm feeling this loneliness coming on. Can I do something other than eating? And yes, I know I can. And these are the top things that I'm going to have. I'm going to exercise, I'm going to dance, I'm going to listen to something that puts me in a good mood. I'm going to write, I'm going to journal, I'm going to get all my feelings out on paper. Have that alternative there. And then check in with yourself and seeing when you are finding yourselves trying to do that hand to mouth, like shoveling, like check in, wait, am I truly hungry or is this based on my emotion? And if it is based on just your emotion, this is a cue for you to stop and to do the alternative, right? Something that we talked about earlier, movement, writing, poetry, something artistic. If you are truly hungry, then you do it mindfully. You're eating where you're making sure that you are slowing down, you're chewing, you're listening to the sounds, you're tasting all the different flavors, all the characteristics of the meal that you're having, right? All the layers. Just slow down and enjoy the meal. And then keep in mind that yes, you want to and will be snacking and you will have something that's your treat. So when you do that, you make sure that you do that also mindfully. But because you're trying to avoid having a lot of unhealthy eating, then you need to make sure that you have your go-to healthy snacks and you have as much healthy things around you as possible. And then last but not least, be kind to yourself. Self compassion is the key. No negative chatter, no guilt, no, there you go again. I thought that you could. I knew you couldn't. None of that. None of that, right? We're working on a habit. We're working on a habit. Emotional eating is a habit. Habits can be broken. So be kind to yourself as you go through this phase to break that habit of emotional eating. I would love to connect with you if you have your go-to way. What is your go-to way to break your emotional eating? Put it in the chat. Let me know. let me know. I'm Dr. Tamara Beckford, and I am the CEO of Your Care and Dogs and Truly Balanced Wellness Care. Thank you guys for joining me, and we'll catch you next time. Take care. Bye bye.